Hey guys, Sharon here. This is another update from us. As you can see, things have changed just a little bit around here. First of all, we actually have some progress on the beams we said we were going to install. We have the 4x6 up here in the center and then 4x4s running this way in the living room as well as for the rest of the kitchen. Now, the reason why we decided to install the beams during this framing stage, primarily because in California, we're actually required to install indoor fire sprinklers. And for the indoor fire sprinklers, they have to be on the lowest point of the ceiling, or else you may need additional sprinklers throughout the house to make sure they have the right coverage. So in our design, our sprinkler guy is actually required to have the sprinkler coming through all these beams that are hanging down the ceilings. So we have to get them in first in order for him to finish his work. Now there's another reason why we decided to install the beams, mostly because of installation. Now we're going to go up on the scaffold and show you how we did it. So since we have these solid wood beams and we want to conceal all the hardware we're using to install the beams, we decided to install it during the framing phase so we can actually install our screws from the top. As you can see, the installation is pretty straightforward. We have a blocking piece that's spanning across the two trusses, and then we came through, drilled a pilot hole here through both the blocking and the beam themselves, and then we use this ledger lock, which is actually a structural screw, to go through two pieces to hang the beams. It's actually pretty straightforward. All we had to do is install the blocking, mark where they have to go, drill them, and then use this. As we mentioned in the last video, in the living room and the kitchen area, we're going to install drywall on the ceiling and use a plaster finish on them. Now with the plaster, it's a little bit more forgiving where the plaster meets the edge of the beam. We can just, cover up any imperfection. Now in the bedroom and Justin's office, as I mentioned last time, we're going to be using these cedar planks to finish the ceiling. Now with the cuts, it's a little bit more unforgiving. We don't want to actually see a vertical cut edge between the planks and the beams themselves. So what we decided to do is we daddle the edge of these beams so that when we come through and install the planks after the beams, we can just kind of slide them in there and hide the edge of the planks to the beam. Now, initially we wanted to use our table saw to daddle these edges, but since the beams are pretty long and they're actually not perfectly straight, so we decided to just use a router and we devised a little jig to finish this job. It's pretty straightforward. It took about half of a day to finish all that work. So coming up next, we're going to install these beams to the bedroom, and we'll see what we do next as we work towards our framing and roughing final inspection.